everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be reviewing the new lip oils from Etude. These are their Dear Darling oil tints, and there's a total of 6 shades. We have 2 sheer ones, 5 and 6. 1 and 2 are mute and dark shades. 3 and 4 are supposedly described as being a little bit semi-mute. A little bit about this product, it's a lip oil. It does have 70% of oil in it. It's supposed to give you that Tangholu glossy finish. Also, it claims to be buildable. It has a sheer layer, and then the more layers that you apply, the more pigmented it's going to look. For this one, you have a very sweet and fruity like scent, so I will keep that in mind. Alright, so starting first, we have shade number 1, Real Cherry. This is a cool winter shade color. So far it has a similar undertone as the promotional pictures. We'll have to see for the full look. However, sort of have a fuchsia violet color. If you look up close, it actually looks like a fuchsia color with violet undertones, but it's going to look red under some certain lightings just because of how pigmented and highly saturated it is. Again, there is a little bit of a violet undertones, quite subtle. You have to get up close to see it, but this might cause some unevenness, so just make sure that you blend well. It is quite pigmented and easy to blend and build. As for the formula, it's not as watery. The oil to gel ratio, I'd say, does have more oil. Slightly does have a little bit of gel in it to kind of thicken it. It's not totally watery. It does feel lightweight, at least for the gradients look. I'm not really sure about moisturization. I'd say it's semi-moisturizing. For the glossy finish, it's not as glossy as I would like it. I'd say it's semi-glossy for the gradients look. It looks a little bit patchy in some areas, maybe because it's an oil formula, but the product does kind of seep into the wrinkles of your lips, so it's a little bit more pigmented where you have wrinkles, which kind of makes it a little bit uneven. It doesn't have that smooth application or finish. It kind of looks like roots on your lips, if that makes sense. For the full look now, it does look like a red shade, a very bright pigmented red. Again, up close, you'll see more of a bright fuchsia shade with violet undertones. It's not a shade color that I typically would wear. This is quite flattering for this season. Looking at the promotional pictures, it looks a lot more red in person, a lot more fuchsia and more bright. The more that you apply, the more it does fill in the wrinkles of your lip. So it gives a semi-blurred effect on the lips. However, again, like I mentioned earlier, for the gradients, like the color does kind of seep into the wrinkles of your lips, so there's a little bit of an unevenness on the lips. Far away you can't really see it, but up close you can. It looks a little bit blotchy, not as smooth as I would like it. There's not much build-up. It doesn't get stringy. There might be a little bit of excess product because it is semi-watery, so it's going to kind of seep into the inside of your mouth, and you can kind of taste the product. If that is the case, just blot it and you should be okay. For the oil to gel ratio, I'd say it has a 2:1 ratio with more oil in it. So it has that semi-moisturizing effect, similar to the gradients look. Not much a difference with the full look. Let's go ahead with your transfer test. So you'll see from the hand swatch later on that it doesn't actually have really much of a stain. It does transfer a lot on the first one. Next up, we have shade number 2, Plum Berry. This is a cool winter dark shade. Similar to the previous one, it has a violet undertone, which helps mix it cool toned. This has more of a maroon red shade in it. It gives a very natural and sultry look for the gradients look. It's a little bit mute, so it's not as bright as the first one. Very beautiful color, but again, not much of a glossy finish. Now you can see more of a maroon red shade color. Again, it does have a little bit of a violet undertone, which makes it cool tone, but it's very subtle. I'd say this is semi-mute. It's not as mute as I thought it would go. It was semi-bright. This is quite similar to their promotional pictures, but it's just not as smooth because, again, it's filling in the wrinkles of my lips and kind of giving this very uneven finish. Next up, we have 3 Neon Pink. This is a cool summer light color, 3 cool shades in a row. Again, for this, it sort of has a little bit of a violet purple undertone, which makes it cool toned. Sort of have this dragon fruit pink type of color, very pink lemonade-y. I might like this more than the previous 2. However, I'm liking the gradient looks more than the full look. Very beautiful color. I find that the lighter the shade, the brighter the gloss finish. So for the gradients look here, you can see more of that glossy finish that it gives. So now we have the full look. Now you can see more pigmented dragon fruit pink color. There is a little bit of a teeth transfer, so I'm just gonna block that really quick. Again, not a big fan of the full looks because they're a little bit too vibrant. But regardless, very beautiful shade, very beautiful glossy finish as well. Next up, we have number 4, Sweet Apple. This is our first warm tone shade from this collection, and it is a warm spring sheer color. You sort of have this tangerine orange red color. As you know, I'm really picky with my orange shades, but this one looks quite flattering. For an orange shade, it's not too warm tone, probably because it's quite sheer. It has a little bit of red in it, but very subtle. A slight coral undertone which balances out the red and orange in this. So now we have the full look. I'd say the promotional picture looks more like the gradients look. The full look is a lot more pigmented. Does have a little bit of brightening effect because of the sheer red in it. Quite a vibrant shade for the full look. Next up, this is number 5, Red Oil. This is a warm shade. And as you can see from the swatch, it is quite sheer. For shades 5 and 6, they're both sheer. From the bottom, it sort of looks like a pink red color. On the lips, it looks like a very sheer pink shade. It is a warm color, so it is slightly warm. However, because it is quite sheer, it's going to blend in with your original lip color. I think this would be really good to layer on top of other lip products, or you just want to add a little bit of gloss onto your lips. This is a little bit too sheer for me, so I probably would want to add a base color and then apply it on top. However, for the gradients look, because of how sheer it is, the glossy finish looks really good. For the full look, you can still see a little bit of pigmentation. Again, it's still quite sheer. It's quite similar to the gradients look. Not much of a color, just a very slight warm undertone that it adds to your original lip color. Glossy finish looks amazing, however. It gives a very beautiful glaze-like glossy finish. Next up, this is 6 Pink Oil, and this is a cool shade similar to number 5. It's also sheer as well. The only difference is that this is a cool tone shade and number 5 is warm tone. Again, the bottles, this is number 6, and you do see that does look a little bit more cool toned. Has a little bit of a violet purple undertone as well. Does add a little bit of a cool undertone. It does look a little bit cool toned, but again, it's going to blend in with your lip color. If you're cool toned and you just want a little bit of gloss, this would be a good option. Now we have the full, you can see more of that cool tone pink color. A little bit more pigmented than number 5. Amazing glossy finish. I actually might like the clear shades more than the pigmented shades just because I think it would be more versatile to layer on top of other lip products. For some reason, I do like the glossy finish of this better. Okay, so I wanted to try mixing one of the sheer product with one of the pigmented colors. I'm using number 2 Plum Berry as a base. I'm going to go in with number 5 Red Oil just to add a little bit of gloss in it because it is lacking some. See that? Do you see that gloss? It looks a lot more glossy and better. For some reason, the clear shades seem to be a lot more glossy. So my final conclusion of these lip oils, I'd say very impressive with the pigmentation. You can add a sheer layer, but you can also build up the color and make it more pigmented and bright. The more layers you apply, the more bright and vibrant it's going to look. For the sheer shades, number 5 and 6, they're quite sheer. So you do have a little bit of a contrast, but I do find that the clear shades are a lot more glossy. Again, like I mentioned, I do prefer the gradient look more than the full look of the other shade. Very bright and playful shades. They do have their own distinct shade. My favorite from this collection would probably be number 5 Red Oil and number 3 Neon Pink, but the gradients version. Other than that, for the formula, as I mentioned earlier, it does have a little bit of unevenness because it kind of seeps into the wrinkles of your lips, which makes it darker there, but it does fill in the wrinkles of your lips pretty well to give that semi-blurred like effect. Kind of reminds me of Peripera's Water Bare Tint formula, where it's semi-watery, it does have a little bit of that oil-like formula, but as you know, Peripera's Water Bare Tint has a better stain, a lot more of a better stain. In my opinion, it also has a better moisturization. For the oil, it's semi-moisturizing. After swatching these and blotting it a few times, it doesn't add much moisturization. So I think in the long term, it's not going to do much for moisturization. I do want to add that these are really good to add on your cheeks as well. I kind of don't want to ruin my makeup because I have to go somewhere, but I'm just going to blend it here really quick for you on the hand. Blends very, very smooth and well. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.